to remember that this is the entire budget for the Polar Plunge Series for the 2019 year. So this Tri-Cities goal number, the 77,000, that is for the funds that are going to be coming in for the 2020 Polar Plunge, because that one's the first one in January. Does that make sense? So that money that's coming in at the end of this year for next year's plunge will still count towards this. So we're looking pretty good. I'm happy with these numbers. It is above what we raised last year, and we had way more participants. I'm not sure where this goal of 750 came in. We had 317 plungers in Tri-Cities last year, so definitely increased quite a bit. Any thoughts, comments, concerns on any of the numbers that we see? Seattle definitely jumped up from where it was, so we're excited. We knew that 166 would be a stretch goal, but 124 is awesome. We've never had, to my knowledge, over 626 people, so obviously pretty far off from the 1,800 mark for the world record, but we're definitely bigger than we have been. So any comments on plunges? No? Okay, we'll just keep on trucking then. So we held a Tippecop at Old Spaghetti Factory, and it ended up, there was 5 locations in the state, and it was a 4-hour Tippecop. Does anyone want to share their experience? I know quite a few folks were leading. Jay, I know you had a really successful event.
Yeah, it was the team at the Spaghetti Factory, after we got past the initial, no, we aren't doing it in Spokane, the night of the event did real good. The manager was great to work with. All the staff said, are you coming back to do it again later on? So other than, you know, it being just a short 4 hours, we had good feedback on it. Had a lot of athletes, and I'll tell you that the athletes there with the medals on around their neck is the moneymaker. We had people who donated a little bit, and then when they saw the athletes and talked to the athletes, they took and put in more money into the pot. So.
And Jay had a very successful location that raised a little over $1,000 in 4 hours. I know some of the other folks on here, Pat and Christy, you guys held one too. Out of the 5 locations, which are the only 5 that we have in the state, we ended up raising $7,000. So I think that's a pretty darn good turnaround for the short timeline that we were actually in the restaurant. So thank you to everyone that did that. There's some feedback that I will provide the Old Spaghetti Factory, such as they're the ones that pick the times from 4:30 to 8:30, but then to find out some of their restaurants like South Center didn't open until 5. So they're obviously new at hosting these as well. And so I think that we can improve some of that communication on their end, whether that be me reaching out to all of the regional managers for each restaurant or what. So a little bit of growing pains there, but again, $7,000 in one night is pretty awesome. Follow up on that, we do have a percentage back night. And so we ended up picking the 12th, which unfortunately is tomorrow. And with the weather, not sure that it's going to bring in a lot of profit. I did email them, and I will give her a call again today and leave another voicemail. I want to make sure that all of their stores are open before we're promoting that it's still going on. And I also want to make sure that we're being careful and sensitive when promoting it so that folks don't feel obligated to go with the weather. Safety obviously needs to come first. But that would be an awesome opportunity for us to again follow up. So definitely a relationship we'll keep and see if we can possibly do it again in the future. Buffalo Wild Wings, we're still working with them. Pat and I are having a little bit difficulty time getting a hold of Dan, the general manager down in Tacoma. He did send a list of 10 locations. Not all of the locations in the state seem like they are going to participate, but 10 of them possibly will. We're waiting to hear if it's going to be their Eat Wings Raise Funds night in addition to the Tippecop, or if that will be a separate night. So just like Spaghetti Factory was 2 nights, or if they're going to be willing to do the Old Spaghetti Factory or the Buffalo Wild Wings percentage back the same night. So 10 to 15% would come back to SOA in addition to whatever folks tip. So we're still working on some of that logistics. Pat, do you have anything that you want to share?
No,
Hey,
I was going to try to reach out and stop. I'll go by and talk to Dan maybe today or tomorrow and see if
Okay.
we can even get the face-to-face with them.
Yeah, that would be awesome because that's what we're pending, and then we'll be getting it out to all the folks so that we can start planning it.
Sounds
So
like a
since
plan.
that's happening on, hey Ellie, since that's happening on 420, are there any local legal weed places that we could put a bucket out and raise some funds?
You know, it's so funny. The manager made a comment, or no, we didn't even know. Well, I didn't know that was the thing until we were presenting it to Thurston County. And she was like, "Oh, that's funny. Lots of snacks. Like, I get it." And I was like, "What?" Like, I'm very naive to that, obviously. So anyway, hopefully that'll work.
That's my
And
it's my birthday. We should have fun.
And hopefully all the snackers don't get scared away because the cops are there.
Fingers crossed. We'll make sure y'all have plenty of dinner on our.
We actually had one of our dispensaries bring us about $85 in change and singles one year for a donation at the oh God, what do they call that thing in August? National Night Out.
Oh.
So, yeah, always entertaining.
We'll take all the monies. I don't care.
Exactly.
Exactly. Any questions on Tippecop? Okay. I know it's kind of not the season for it, but knowing that the Red Robin relationship isn't 100% solid, we're still working with International to try to get that letter from corporate so that we can send it out. Special Mix Washington can send it out to all of the different managers within the state that just talks about how each manager can make their own decision if they want to participate, and their managers do not have to go to corporate. So we'll hopefully have that, in which case that will increase the percentage of Red Robins participating in October. The goal of these statewide Tippecops, the Buffalo Wild Wings and Old Spaghetti Factory, we don't want them to be in October because we already have folks that have created relationships with local restaurants that if they want to keep those, they can do that. So having something in October is still Tippecop month. This is above and beyond. And you know, poor Linwood has an Old Spaghetti Factory, a Buffalo Wild Wings, and a Red Robin that they still partner with. So we didn't want anyone to be hosting 3 or 4 Tippecops in October when we can spread that out throughout the year. So, regional coordinator outreach. So I have a little update on Brian Johnston's role on exec, and then I'm hoping that we can hear a little bit from each regional coordinator about how it's going in your areas. We do have the Google Documents. Rachel and I are still trying to find a way to get the calendar up. So we promised you guys that last month and we are working on it. We have it. We're just having a hard time getting it uploaded to the actual Google Docs. So at this point, I'm thinking what we might do is just create a PDF, load it in, and then if you guys have a place that you're presenting, go ahead and email it to Rachel and I. That way we can make sure you have everything you need in the Google Docs to be successful with that presentation, whether you need folders made or a special PowerPoint, but then we'll add it to that calendar and re-upload it. So I think that will probably be the way for now until we can find a better way. But Brian Johnston role on his back, as everyone knows, was USA Games. And so a lot of that was doing the outreach with specific agencies and towns and cities that we hosted those ceremonies in. So his role is staying very similar to that into just recruitment. So he's going to kind of be the go-to if a regional coordinator can't make a meeting or if I have to be somewhere else in the state. That being said, we did host a Tippecop at Old Spaghetti Factory down in Vancouver. Some of you might have heard it was a very big challenge to try to find an agency willing to host it. We've always struggled with involvement through LETR down in Clark County. And so Brian put Patrick and I in touch with a few folks down there, and one thing led to another. We actually had a detective from Portland that took lead on that location. He lives within Clark County, and so it was very successful. He was able to put us in touch with quite a few different chiefs down in that area, some smaller cities and whatnot, including the chief of Vancouver, who emailed us and didn't understand why we didn't come to him as the restaurant was in his jurisdiction. So we responded with an email from his sergeant that said they would not like to participate. And so obviously it was a communication issue. We just didn't have the right contacts down there. And so now we do. And they have invited us to come and speak to the chiefs and sheriffs meeting down in Clark County and the surrounding areas. So we will be down there presenting. Unfortunately, it's going to be the Thursday prior to all of our plunges, the Seattle, Wenatchee, and Spokane plunges. And originally I was traveling to Spokane. Now I will be staying here and working on Seattle. But Brian Johnston has graciously offered to go and present for us. So that will kind of be his role. Obviously, it's during school time, so Patrick can't make it. He's the regional coordinator. Ideally, we'd love both of them, but we'll have to settle for just Brian. So he's really going to be that person to kind of fill in and help really recruit those agencies and areas. Yes, I heard someone wanting to talk. No. Okay. I think that this is an awesome role for Brian. He's excited about it, and it's really just a continuation of the work that he was already doing with USA Games. He'll also be a really good go-to for the regional coordinators. So if anyone has a meeting that they can't attend or something, fill it in, send it to Rachel and I. We'll get it on the calendar and we'll see who within exec can go. I know Brian Asmus, Chief's always willing to go and travel as well. So we have enough folks, we should be able to really make a splash this year. So I also wrote Snohomish County on there because they had reached out and actually to Brian personally, and it looks like they will be hosting a run with the cops. So Monroe PD was looking at hosting one. And it turns out Snohomish County has been involved over the years, but not directly. They've always assisted with Tipacops up north and things like that, but never really led anything. And now they're very eager and anxious too. So Brian started that communication, and now we'll pull in Donovan, who's the operations guru in charge of Run with the Cops, and we'll get that one all solidified. So all good things, but hopefully some feedback from the regional coordinators on how the Google Docs are working.
Ellie, it's Rex. Can I weigh in on Snow County real quick?
Please.
Yeah, I would offer. Ty Trineri the sheriff has usually been pretty supportive.
Yep.
He just doesn't have anybody that's willing to pick it up for him. And the chief from Mukilteo is really, really interested in making an impact. So I would focus on those two guys if you can to start.
Yes, I actually was just emailing with Mukilteo 2 days ago, Friday, as well. We have a Pack the Gym event for areas, and it's just kind of a unified basketball game. So I just sent them a little email and said, hey, if you guys want to stop by, we'd love to have your presence. And they're always, they don't do a Run with the Cops or anything anymore. They do the Sneakers and Sirens, which is part LETR, part fire. But I think doing a run up there again, led by Snohomish, they were the ones that reached out to us, and they were like, we're ready now, we want to do something big. And so I think this will be a great opportunity for everyone up there to be able to rally together. Okay, my regional coordinators on the call. Can you guys give us some feedback on the Google Docs? Are they working? Are they not helpful? I know that they don't have phone numbers. So we are working to get an updated WASPIC list with phone numbers that we can update. But how is it working for you? Please let us know so that we can update or whatever. Feedback would be awesome.
I can start, Ellie, and say that they're working fine for me. I've not heard back. I probably put out 10 emails so far, just working out the list and in between drama and stuff. But other than that, I think it's fine. We talked a couple of times about I can highlight things if I, who I've, done, who I've emailed. So they're working fine. I just have to have more time throughout my 24-hour day to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So is everyone able? Everyone should have access to be able to edit those now. I know that there was a little issue earlier on. Does anyone else have issue editing or any positive feedback?
So I sent a boatload of emails out using that list for both Leanne and I, and then Rex took it and forwarded it onto the King County Police Chiefs Association, and then they blasted it out. So these people probably got it once, if not twice. And then now that the Bothell chief is no longer King County Police Chiefs, Michelle Bennett is now, and I've sent her stuff, and she's blasted it, like my follow-up. She blasted it through the King County Chiefs, but I haven't really gotten anything back from it, except for Bellevue did have the assistant chief and one other person join our polar plunge team, and it was within days of that second email.
Awesome.
And then I ended up running into some ISQA people at regional or sub-regionals, and One of them seemed like he was interested. The other guy really didn't want to talk to me, but I got his card anyway. And haven't really heard from them, but it's still a new contact, so that was cool.
Awesome, good. And are you adding those folks, so like that card you got, are you adding him into that Google Doc for us?
I haven't yet. I'm going to add the one guy that actually wants to do LETR as far as the torch run.
Perfect.
The other guy doesn't want to be bothered.
Yeah, okay.
I think he just came for the pizza.
And we get some folks like that, and that's fine. But yeah, if you can add that in, that would be awesome, because then what we do is we go in and we'll copy that list, and we'll make sure that they get the Guardian newsletter and some of our other communication that goes out as well. So that is our master LETR list for the state. So any contacts that we have, that I make, or that you guys make, and those are your sheets to be able to update, highlight, do whatever you need in order to track it. Okay, so it doesn't look like Donovan is on anymore. Right as we come to his portion.
I'm still here, Ellie. I'm just having internet problems.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, did we get any feedback from the state conference? So last month we all kind of debriefed the conference a little bit, and we wanted to create a survey. So we actually added the survey into the Guardian newsletter that went out to every contact we have in the state, whether they went or not, just in hopes that we could get at all feedback, whether, why didn't you come? Was it timing? Was it whatever? Did we get any responses from that, Donovan?
Yep, we got one.
Was it someone on this call?
I have no idea. It doesn't tell me who it is because it's an anonymous survey, but it was scored 1 to 5, 5 being the best, and it was 4 across the board.
Okay. Well, that's not a very large sample, but at least it's positive feedback.
Yep. Yeah, we'll do it a little differently next year. I got some ideas on how to make sure we get it out better.
Yep. So with Donovan kind of leading the charge of operations, he's hopefully going to be assisting with some more of those logistical pieces as well. So we now have a very good, because we've changed a lot with the state conference, I think that we'll continue on that path. Like I said, we did get good feedback, at least from the folks I spoke with, and council with the location and some of that stuff. We'll relook at timing. That was an issue. And we'll just move forward, upward and onward with conference. Donovan, do you want to chat about the Torch Run shirt designs, the competition?
Yeah, we've got, well, as of this morning, we got a 4th one this morning, but we had 3 submitted before the deadline that met all the requirements. We had a 4th one. Christy submitted a 4th one that was from an Explorer, which, is over a week late. I'm excited that an Explorer actually did it. Okay. All right. So I don't know what we'll do with the 4th one, so.
Okay, so we'll probably just ignore the 4th one as now, just because we wanted the first top 3 anyway, to move forward on the voting campaign, if you will. And then I'm going to show everyone on this. I'll definitely email them out so that you guys know what they look like. The one that you're looking at right now is from Redmond PD. So Live Life Unified Lawn Torch Run. Oh, go ahead. What, Donovan?
That figures that'd be Redmond PD, because if you look really carefully, you can see it says Calvin Klein on the tag.
It is a very clean look. That's true. This one is Monroe. So this is Monroe PD. Turn this one in. So
I like that.
Yep. And then the last one was from Federal Way, which is here. 2 of them are very similar. Everyone loves the black shirt. Everyone, of course, loves the blue stripes. So originally on this call, we were going to vote on the top 3, but because we only have 3 designs, which I still think is a positive, because it's not just a random designer doing this. It's someone who's familiar with the campaign. They're local agencies that are very involved. So what we'll do is we'll take these 3 designs that we have, and we'll then put it up for an online vote. Special Olympics Washington Facebook and social media campaigns. And online voting will start on Valentine's Day, so February 14th. And they'll continue through the 28th. Have 2 weeks of voting. And then we'll take joining one, and we'll start printing for the torch run, and we'll get those shirts out as early as possible. So early March, I think it's maybe the earliest we've had it in a long time. So very exciting.
So can you go back to the Monroe one for a second?
Yes.
What is that supposed to be?
I don't know the answer.
Looks like Mount Rainier with the trees in front of it.
Yeah,
Me
but
too.
is that supposed to be like the black is the snow coming down, or is that the sublimated state outline with the peninsula, or? Okay, it's supposed to look like glaciers coming down over the red, white, okay.
I think it's up to your design eye, Rex, whatever you want to see in it.
Yeah, I'm not getting that as a tattoo, that's all I'm saying.
I like the
So,
last one.
anyway, so well then, if you like one, you should vote for it. So
I'm going to.
okay, and promote it. So what we'll do is we'll make sure that the rules are up there. Vote as many times as you want or whatever. It'll be by likes or shares, or I'm not the social media guru, but I think that I think it's awesome to at least have some interest and support from law enforcement to be able to design your shirt because it's your campaign. So, and then we will start getting the shirts printed, so we'll get that communication out as well. Donovan, anything else on the shirts and the torch run?
Nope. We'll probably get started on contacting people for the torch run within the next couple of weeks, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Just to get things rolling. So.
Yep. Okay. Awesome. Now I have a couple updates that were not on the calendar, so I'm going to kind of jump around here a little bit, and I apologize for being slightly disorganized. This morning we received some information from Ontario, Canada, and they're hosting an invitational youth games, and it's a little conference. It's a combination of 5 separate sports. They're inviting youth from all over. It's a 4-day competition, 2,500 athletes, and there's a law enforcement torch run component. That being said, we're still finalizing a couple payments for international conference, believe it or not, but we should have a very good understanding of where we are budget-wise for conferences so that we can actually possibly send someone from exec to this conference. So as you can see on my screen, this is the actual program schedule. So there's a torch run, opening ceremonies. So I'm going to include the email that I got with this packet of information. And if we can have folks email me by the end of the week if you're interested. We're gonna, like I said, we just received this, and so this morning, but I think I talked to Chief about it, and he thinks that it's an awesome opportunity for someone on council to be able to go and represent. We're still waiting to see within Special Olympics if we're sending athletes or not. But the goal of this and the expectation is if someone were to go, to come back and to really lead an event similar to this, not like our state conference, but to do an event, a recruitment event that would be a day of play. And so Special Olympics is already working on something like this. Dave, our CEO, is working on it with some of our program staff, and we're looking at having an LETR component, which would be something like a day of play. So it's not a sport event, it's not an LETR event, it's not a fundraiser, it's an opportunity for veteran law enforcement to get re-energized and for rookie law enforcement who aren't involved in LETR to come and see what it's all about and to really just spend some time with our athletes and interact. So obviously very, very general information. Like I said, we just received it. We haven't talked too much about it as staff. I talked to Mary. I also talked to Rachel. I'd love to send Rachel as well if we have the funds to be able to send 2 folks to be able to go and then come back to be able to lead it here, something similar. But they do, please take a look at this and let Chief and I know if it's something that you would be interested in and have the time to do. It does have all of the different programs and stuff that you could be attending. How do they keep their LETR front and center? Open panel discussion. So it's not just a classroom setting all the time. Also a great networking opportunity within LETR. So I just wanted to kind of provide that. I don't have a lot of answers to a lot of questions yet, but if you have them, please send them my way. Like I said, I will send this out in the notes as well. I have another very positive update, and I apologize, this meeting is a lot of me talking, but we have a lot to fill everyone in on. We have a staff member named Luke, and he has worked on our program side for almost a year, maybe a little over a year now, and he has taken on a little bit more of the development responsibilities for LETR on the east side, specifically for sponsorships and some of that higher level stuff. So I will be getting some support from him, which is awesome. I am still going to be the campaign lead for the state, but to have that support is going to be awesome, and I'm very excited. That also being said, we are moving forward with hiring another development coordinator on the east side of the state who will report directly to Luke and who will be supporting a lot of hands-on LETR stuff. So it will help with a lot of the vendor procurement, a lot of the LETR other events. I will still oversee the council. I'll still travel to the east. But it will definitely provide some desperately needed support. So that's extremely exciting. Someone's laughing at me.
That's pretty cool.
No, I'm laughing because apparently I'm sitting in the wrong spot. People are leaving the airport and the big truck just went by and I just got completely covered and it came through the window and completely covered Luna.
Oh.
Oh,
She's not happy. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, yeah, so we're very excited. So, but Luke's new title is Development Team and Regional Manager, Director of Development and Area Services. He'll still oversee a lot of the area services, already out talking to folks and getting sponsorships, and he'll just be responsible for a portion of our budget to help make sure that he's out in the community working for LETR as well. So, and then the new development coordinator will report directly to him, but then definitely play a significant role in LETR support. So at the coordinator level. So I'm sorry, I cut someone off. Nope. Okay. Anyway, that's very exciting, at least for me. So and the last thing I really wanted to chat about, unfortunately, Mike Day could not be on the call. Everyone knows we've been trying desperately to get some athletes on our council. It's a goal that we set, I think, last year at International Conference and again this year. We received 2 nominations, and Mike has talked to both of them and actually went and met with one of the families to really try to get a gauge and interest of their LETR knowledge and if they, would be a good fit or not. And unfortunately, neither of them really seemed that this would be something they would want to continue with in the sense of joining the council. Not because they're not involved, but more so because they didn't really have a good specific reason on why they wanted to be an athlete representative. That being said, he and I chatted in a little bit with Chief that we don't just want to throw someone in without having a good infrastructure of just filling a chair. We want someone who it's an honor for them to come and work with us and to make sure that they understand that they're the voice of the athletes. And so being able to, I think, get all of the staff on board and then being able to focus a little bit more on the strategy and the structure that we currently have with the regional coordinators and making sure that the communication is getting out. We've hired some new staff on our program side, including an awesome lady named Madison who worked back with us years ago, and she has come back to Special Olympics, kind of similar to my story. She is in charge of the areas. So we now have 11 areas in the state. It's changed a couple times, but they have area that are volunteer roles very similar to our regional coordinators. Who oversee a volunteer council for that area, and that works within their budget and their programs, their sports, their volunteers. There's someone very specific on each one of their councils, and so I think to be able to work together with them, we'll be able to get the word out that we're looking for athletes to be representatives on our council. By then, we'll be able to look at all 18,000 athletes rather than just whoever staff decides to my emails to and or whoever our council knows. So we're going to try to put this on hold until we have a better grasp of how we can get that communication out to all the athletes. Thoughts, comments, questions, concerns?
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Okay. Well, aside from all of those wonderful polar plunges we have coming up, I just wanted to share the 2019 events calendar with everyone. We have Winter Games coming up in Wenatchee, which I already stated, an awesome opportunity. If you live closer, you're willing to travel. The state games are always awesome. We have some new LETR events that we're working on. One is a drift car event in Spokane. The other one is a jiu-jitsu tournament, Brazilian to be specific. We also, yep.
I have a question. 2 questions. Pat, did you change your date for Hooping for Heroes?
I did change it till it's 20.
What's the new date, Pat?
It's February 27th.
And then
With all the weather and stuff, we're gonna get bumped because of this high school has to still play.
And then my next question is on the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing. Are you gonna have a flyer out? What's it entail? Because we got a bunch of those guys on our department.
So
Yes.
I'll speak to that, Ellie. What's gonna happen is Fircrest is trying to do a tournament at Fife High School. Still working the little details out. If anybody's in the BJJ or their group or their house that they roll in, they will be able to they'll get a flyer sent out to all the clubs pretty soon. Hopefully in the next couple weeks. I think he wants to do it in May, sometime in May.
So there's nothing that we need to send out because that should be taken care of.
Well, once we get the waivers taken care of and he gets everything finished up with Fife High School, because he still has to do some work with them, I think then we'll be able to set to go and start rocking and rolling on things. But yeah, I already thought about talking to Jay Miller and a couple of those other BJJ guys that will probably be interested in doing something like that.
Okay.
That's a new event this year. It's a new LETR other event, and because it's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu tournament, there is some contact involved, and so we're being extra careful to make sure that our insurance and our waivers are in check. So we're working on getting all of that approved. So yes.
And
So
Ellie, all
yes.
you have to say is all you do is say BJJ. That's all you have to say.
Oh, is that how we know it now?
Yeah, that's how it is. Just say BJJ. You're good.
Well, see, I'm learning every day.
Don't just say BJ. You gotta say BJJ.
Oh my. Yes. Okay. Well, that was what I had for the meeting. Keep it short and sweet. I'll make sure to get notes out to everyone. Comments, questions, concerns, how we all feeling besides cold? Awesome.
Everything's good. It's snowing still.
It is snowing still, and I appreciate everyone being positive about the rearranging of the plunges. I know we are deep into plunges right now, but to just keep in mind that Torch Run is right around the corner. Donovan is working hard to get a new process for the shirts. So we'll be kind of rolling that out, just with making sure that we're keeping all of the agencies accountable for all of the shirts that they're ordering. Last year, to my knowledge, was the first year that I believe we proactively reached out to all the agencies that purchased shirts and did not send in the correct amount of funds back, to either ask for the shirts back or ask for those funds. So we are going to continue to crack down on that slightly to make sure that we're not just throwing away money. We want to be very good about tracking everything. So Donovan's working with that. We'll have the online registration again, and we're going to work with contacting all of those leads for the Torch Run. So shirts are coming soon. Please do share when you see the stuff online. If you can share that, vote and promote it. We're going to switch from plunges to Torch Run here pretty soon. So.
Okay.
Chief, any
Hey,
I think we're good. Go ahead, Rex.
has anybody been distributing the Polar Plunge 2019 shirts, or did I miss that?
So we will have those at the plunge.
Okay.
And if you can't make it to the plunge, let me know. We'll save you a shirt.
No, it's okay. I'll be there the 23rd. I just was going through a giant box of T-shirts and weeding out stuff, and I've got like 7 or 8 of those, and I'm looking at a quilt. So I was trying to make sure I've got all the current ones.
Oh, okay. Let me know. We can talk offline because I have a bunch throughout the years too. You can have.
Okay.
Chief, any parting words?
Well, the cold never bothered me anyway. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping with the snow. I mean, I think it'll lighten up maybe on the west side, but I'm a little concerned for our plunge over here simply because it's predicted to be nonstop for the next 2 weeks. But
Yeah.
we'll figure it out.
Okay.
Brian, did you have a chance to see the email or the video from Eric Johnson of
Yes.
him and his brothers?
Yeah.
Oh, that was crazy.
Yeah, that was nuts.
God.
Yes, as awesome as that was, I get concerned about everyone's health, so please take safety first.
Or have your husband shoot you down on all your crazy ideas.
That works too. Chief, you and I will connect later this week and we can chat a little bit more about what it looks like if we need to postpone your event as well. I'm getting real good at it. I have all the whole, my checklist here. So if we can make it work.
All right.
Well, Ellie?
Yes.
Jay here. If we postpone it, the weather usually doesn't get good over here until July.
Well, we can be creative and I'm sure come up with something. Maybe there's an indoor pool that will allow us to throw some ice in or something.
I think we did that last year.
So that's what we're doing in Abu Dhabi in March. They've got a swimming pool. They're going to basically freeze because they've got that kind of money to make that sort of thing happen. So that's my solar plunge in March.
So Montana moved theirs indoors, but they waited till they got to -50 outside.
Yeah. Well, we are going to make sure that safety and health are put first. So, Chief, I'll check in with you later this week and we can kind of come up with an action plan and a schedule. And Steve, if that's the same thing in Wenatchee, we can do, if we need to push it back further into March, we can, and/or if we need to find an indoor pool, we will obviously work with you on that. I'm really hoping that we're a go in Seattle because I'm not sure. I think we might start losing people if we need to do it again. So we are going to go gung-ho on the 23rd in Seattle until otherwise stated. But I'm hoping that our weather better change over here.
All right, I got one question about the Seattle plunge. Are we, the Royal We, still working on trying to get transportation and parking?
We are, yes.
Okay. You like that? I said we, the Royal We.
Yes. So we have a little bit more time now to work with the districts. The only issue is that it costs funds to be able to rent out parking spots or things like that. So we're working to see if there's a way that we can get those donated. But yes, we still are working on that. That is top of the list.
Awesome.
Okay, well, if there's no more feedback or comments, questions, we'll go ahead and call this our meeting, and I'll go ahead and get these notes typed up and I'll send them out to everyone.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.